Hello and welcome to the SMEFocus show powered by MTDCNC. I'm Mark Weymouth from the Factory Automation Sensor Specialist Plus Automation, and this show aims to support the UK's great manufacturing sector and particularly highlight its SMEs. My guest today is Mark Thompson. He could be said to have been thinking about batteries and founding businesses around batteries well before the rest of us realised how important they'd be. Most recently, Mark founded AceOn Battery Technology back in 2009. Hi, Mark. Welcome to SMEFocus.
Thanks, Mark. And obviously, very passionate around the manufacturing and great to be on your show to talk about, UK manufacturing, which is obviously close to my heart. And, I've been doing that since 1988. So, yeah, real passion for me just to have a chat and talk about what's going on in the world of batteries in the UK, really, Mark.
Brilliant. Well, I think your passion shows through for batteries and manufacturing, so it should be an interesting show. And 30 years working with batteries, I guess you enjoy it. So can you tell us a little bit about your background, from what got you into this? Yeah, if you're passionate about manufacturing, let's start with the why and how you've worked forwards, and really what benefits manufacturing and batteries can bring, and what have they brought to you?
Yeah, in the heart of Birmingham, it all started in 1988. When I was a youngster, played a bit of sports, semi-professional. Didn't have much to do, but I got involved in building battery packs. Still remember the company today, and it's been with me ever since. So yeah, building battery packs on the shop floor. That's putting, being a battery geek, packs up. And that's it's to customers' requirements. So that really got me started in 1988 in the oil and gas market, around telemetry. And I was excited in 1988. Company made me redundant in 1990, which is a bit strange because batteries were starting to take off even in 1990, and so it made me redundant. Within about an hour, I was at the job centre saying, how do I set up my own business at the age of 20? So, yeah, luckily there was an enterprise allowance scheme from Margaret Thatcher of £45 a week, which really kick-started me. I went to Dad. I said, Dad, can I have the shed at the back? Can I turn it into a little battery facility? And that's how I really started, from the back garden shed. Got quite big actually in the shed. We extended it, and then the council said, look, Mark, you got lorries coming up and down this little road where Mum and Dad live, and we got our first unit in 1994. So we had 4 years in the back garden. So we started in 1990, very much building the battery packs for the company that I used to work for, but then expanded into my own customers. And so really, I was excited over. It was NiCad at the time, so NiCad batteries are being phased out, and then nickel metal hydride come around, and everyone got excited over nickel metal hydride, because it doesn't have cadmium and it's more energy density in the cell. And then the guys down in Oxford, invented the lithium ion cell, which obviously part of it was invented in the UK, and that was an exciting technology when we saw lithium ion come to the market, which was the camcorder, if you remember the old camcorder market and laptop market. And that's what really drove, we call it the 18650 cell, which is like the AA of lithium ion. Yeah. So that's how it all started. To my dad and say, look, can I have the garden shed? And that's how we started as a family business. So yeah.
Fantastic. So a big change from a family shed in Birmingham. You're now in the heart of manufacturing, the historical heart of manufacturing in Telford with AceOn. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you got into founding AceOn and
sure.
what differentiates you now, somebody who has senior members of the government visiting, compared to that little shed? So tell us a little bit more about AceOn.
Yeah, I think, we went through a great rapid growth, 94 to 97, merged with another company, and then finally got bought out by a foreign company in 2004. I wasn't quite happy with that because I thought it may be an opportunity we could bring more manufacturing back to the UK, but it reversed and it went back overseas. And I thought, well, this is madness. The whole idea of me setting up a company was to be a UK company. And that's really where I formed AceOn in 2009, where, I saw a lot of the investment going back over abroad in the assembly side. And I thought, no, this is not right. So one day went home, told the wife, I said, right, okay, I've just handed in my notice. 3-month notice. So set up AceOn Group just as we're coming out of the 2008 crash, but I'm one of those guys that, you find opportunity, and I just had enough at that time. So, but I couldn't sell batteries for a year. So what did I do for a year? Because of my contract, I invented a solar generator called the Solar SDS, which has really got me into the inverter battery solar, hence why it's called AceOn Battery Solar Technology. Trading as AceOn Group. But that's how we formed, on the basis of I really wanted to come all the way back to the early 90s on having my own UK company, and to grow the business locally in the UK. And that's my passion today. And as you say, with ministers and some people coming to see us, it's fantastic. And I love to wave the flag that 100% British owned, family business, got a great board that we were looking for expansion. So that's how AceOn was formed. And good old dad, at the age of, I think he was 74, I said, Dad, do you want to go for this AceOn again? And he did, bless him. And, he's been fabulous and, hardworking. And that's what we are, a hardworking family, So I didn't go through the educational route. It was very much hands-on, making things happen. And I've also had that creative innovation kind of mindset of try something different.
I think one of the things that makes you interesting is UK-based business, but obviously the UK market is very important to you, which on a day like today doesn't necessarily make me think of solar. So can you tell me a little bit about the battery landscape for the UK and how you serve the market? How do you serve this challenging market? You're not in California, you're not in the dream sunny country. So explain it. How do you make a success of it?
Yeah, and I think just traditionally that when we set up AceOn Group 2012, Mark, there's a company in Telford which was a spin out from Everready, and that really got us into working in a bigger environment. The factory's already there, so we took the basis on let's save the company out in Telford because it's ex-Everready, and we're still making some of those blue batteries today for some weird and wonderful applications. But realizing that we're in a very competitive market for that kind of products, and because I had that year out of not being able to sell batteries, I really got into that solar industry very early on, thinking, well, I'm going to just get on a plane, go to Africa and see it for myself, which I did, and I went out there and I thought, no power. I mean, this is 2010. You think about where we are today with what electricity and power we need, and mobile phones and laptops and computers. So hence I invented that little solar generator, 4 plugs on it, world's first, with a iPad docking station. Just as I launched the product, Apple changed their 9-pin connector to what we've got. Bless them. I've just developed this solar generator, but that really creating a business around solar, around about let's capture this thing. So I took my product onto Dragon's Den, explaining that we all go to work Monday to Friday. When's it sunny? Well, it's between 10 and 4. When do we need power? We need it in the morning of sun. So I was doing a pitch, and then I was talking about how we're going to use this renewable space. And then Elon Musk, 2 years down the line, does his Powerwall presentation, and it's a fantastic presentation, Mark. And it was something I was trying to pitch at Dragon's Den, that this market is about to change, and it's going to change big time. And when it does go, and remember, there was a lot of feed-in tariffs at the point of solar early on in those 2011, 2012. And, I think it's 45 pence a kilowatt hour getting paid at, the height of it. So if somebody put solar on the roof, they've got a really good deal. But that really got me into, okay, I've got my portable stuff. This really needs to be looked at residential. And I put a fantastic battery technology in called lithium titanate. And that's 20,000 cycles, 3C. So I put lithium titanate in, but it's too expensive for that application. But that got me into the residential. And then actually the bigger market for AceOn, Mark, is to look at this commercial industrial stuff. And just as we're having, I think it was COP26 in Paris, the noises are fuels, because I was pitching that energy security. This is 2016, Mark, is going, well, this is for our fossil fuel, gas. Anything happens, that they've got us strangled, involved in battery storage. But it all started off with my portable generator, and leading up to, we're now quoting for 120 megawatt hour systems around the world. So yeah, we've got a great US company that we delivered some product to, and we seem to be doing well with that. But we've really got a great product range coming through, and the exciting thing for us is we're a solution provider now. We're not so much a battery company. We are a solution provider, but we're not that massive gigafactory. But, I can see a massive future for AceOn, because you've got the e-mobility market, that city living, last mile delivery coming through. One of the exciting things is working around second life EV batteries. So we're on a fantastic project where we're taking them out of a car. And even after 200,000 miles, there's still 86% capacity left in these batteries. If a car has an accident, it gets written off. Let's not just crush them for recycling straight away. Let's put them into a system, and that's where the manufacturing comes in, the BMS development, energy management systems, and that's what we're working on very heavily, Mark. The last 2 or 3 years have been product developing, and hopefully, 2025 is the year that we really come to market with a lot of what we've been doing at the back end. Well, we've been traditionally doing our battery packs, and I think that's the exciting part for us, is that we have massive export opportunities with this as well.
I think it's really interesting to see, and I'm almost frustrated that it doesn't seem to have happened very much yet, the reuse of automotive batteries, because the horror stories of how short their life scale is just really been proved to be nonsense. But you will have an inherent habit of people driving them into walls and all these things. So yeah, there will be a supply route out there of, I'm assuming, very good quality, certainly capable, long-lived batteries. And I think it will be fantastic when they become part of the supply chain into the home market, shall we say. And reuse, I think, almost seems to undervalue how good ex-automotive batteries must be. So I'm excitedly watching and just waiting for them to come out. So it's great to hear that you're part of that.
Yeah. And from our side, Mark, I think the nice thing is with Second Life, and we're looking at the rail industry now on getting your design right at the start for Second Life in mind. A lot of engineers will be delivering, just getting the batteries into systems and getting as long as they can for it between A and B, but not really thinking about that reuse, recycle.
Okay.
And that's where innovation, supply chain in the UK, and I'm over in the Ukraine in 2 weeks' time at Rebuild Ukraine in Poland, and I'll be showing and demonstrating that this Second Life, here you go, it's real, it works, it's fantastic, it's a solution for some of the automotive guys. But then that brings me into, as I say, the other industries, which is road and rail, getting first design in. Yes, we're not going to supply a Toyota or a Nissan, but what you will do is find that autonomous vehicle, maybe lower volume, last delivery mile products, city living cars. I can see that. So I've got some really great innovation behind it. But what really excites me in the UK, and I do sit on the government's Faraday battery challenge advisory board, where we're talking about gigafactories and making it in the UK, and why not, and with Agratas in Somerset, their £4 billion factory in Somerset, 3,000 jobs, Mark, and this is our chance for the UK manufacturing to really come back and going, well, I still have an oil tanker turning up at Milford Haven, dumping the oil. We're making cells that can be recharged by wind and solar. It's not burnt in, and that is the exciting part of where we are in the UK. And obviously the budget came out the other day, and carrying on with that electrification, absolutely the West Midlands is going to be a hub of activity. We already have the UK BIC in Coventry, but yeah, it's I could talk all day long around the battery in the UK market, because I am so passionate. But I also see the innovation, the supply chain, recycling plants, because there is black mass out of these batteries that will be used into new cells. But I want to have those cells coming out from Somerset, not from Asia. So or anywhere. It could be Coventry. There's noises of Coventry having their giga plant there, and we need about 8 plants in the UK. It's an exciting time, really exciting time, and it brings back into manufacturing and the supply chain. I go to a scale-up institute peer-to-peer group, and we meet once a month, and there's some cracking SMEs that support the manufacturing centre with software and development. So, yeah, I mean, if you manufacture things, you need people and products.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Obviously, the other side of my life is involved with pretty small components that do travel around the world. I think it's exciting. You're talking about some big, bulky, heavy things. They've got everything going in terms of being produced locally and produced well, not shipped from somewhere else. It's absolutely ludicrous to be shipping cells from Asia to Europe. So I think it's exciting, and we just need to get it done here. You touched on the budget. Obviously, everything we've talked about so far has been very positive. In terms of the budget, what do you think was positive? What do you think was negative about it in terms of, I guess, the impact on your market and the impact on your business?
Yeah, I think it's two sides to the budget. Obviously, businesses are going to take the brunt of this taxation. It's very heavily on businesses, and a lot of SMEs just coming out of COVID and taking CB loans and whatever. It's a real tough thing for businesses to actually be hit with year end and national insurance and also that living wage has gone up and great, it needs to, but I think there's timing of this. It's been a double whammy, and as I say, people are just getting back on their feet. We need investment, we need new machinery, it's going to start to do people now look at the investment that they were looking at? Does it delay that? I hope it doesn't. And I think, certainly we sit in the market with the Great British Energy and this road to net zero. And a lot of people say to me, well, the road to net zero, Mark, China and India pump. But this is our chance to innovate and be ahead. We're going down this route, whether you like it or not. And the UK has to compete with Germany, Poland, and the rest of Europe. But also we have Asia very strong, USA are very strong in this market. So by creating a demand, and that's where government have really stepped up, to be honest with you, with the R&D, keeping the 2 billion there. We have to innovate our way around to really be a global player in this market. And that comes by having a government that sees the opportunity. And I do see that and having that. But I think, great news that they're pushing this green agenda. People say to me that steel plant down in Port Talbot that had to close, but it's coming back and it's going to be more sustainable. It's going to be electrified. And that's the kind of tough decisions you've got to do. But I do think the burden on businesses is quite hard. And it's going to be interesting how that plays out. But as I say, the other side of it is that the government are really pushing this agenda, certainly for the automotive electrification and the Great Britain Energy getting using more wind. It's exciting times for that, Mark. And businesses just take it on the chin, don't they? And they just have to roll the sleeves up and navigate our way out. But let's hope the economy grows in the way it needs to.
Exactly. I think we all expected a painful budget, but at least if there's talk of manufacturing, even on the same day as a budget, that's a welcome change to me. Industrial strategy. We've weathered the storms. Hopefully we can keep going forward. Hey, we're well practiced at weathering storms.
Yeah, and let's not forget, Great Britain has a good brand name when we do sell stuff abroad. So we make some really good stuff here in the UK, and there's some great innovation, there's some great startups, and we've got to have that culture of we've got to fail sometimes before we get it right, and create that environment to do that and not be seen as a failure. No, it didn't work, we need to scrap that and move on. But you learn a lot in that, Mark, and I think that's where the likes of Innovate UK running these competitions and winning it, because as I say, we're retrofitting a crew transfer vessel up in Newcastle with green hydrogen and batteries and propulsion engines, and it's fantastic. This is exactly what we want, and the engineering going behind that's retrofitting this boat, Mark, is fantastic to see. putting all these different technologies together. And as I say, that's where we're censoring the ship in February, and it sails on. We're using a battery pack that's powering it, while the other battery pack is being charged by green hydrogen. Really exciting times, and I think this is what we have to need to grasp, and we need a government and we need a strategy to do that, and create this manufacturing back again, which I think is an opportunity that we just can't miss. We can't fail this time round, and bring manufacturing really back to the UK, not just tinker around the edges, but actually do this on a bigger plan than wish I was the Minister of Manufacturing. I know what I'd be doing. But I think, you can tell I'm excited, because it is an exciting opportunity.
Well, I think a passion for manufacturing is infectious. So it's a delight to talk to you about that. I mean, pulling it down to a much shorter term, what do you think 2025 has in store for you, for the business? Generally, how do you see next year?
Wow, that's a really good question. I think we could be really a flip on that, with some of the stuff we're doing behind the scenes. It could be massive growth. It could be a real game changer for AceOn in 2025. It is really an exciting time to look at our expansion plans and how we're going to deliver that. Where are we going to find the skills to fill these gaps? And I think that's a really key point. Skills is a real issue for a lot of companies. And remember, this is a new industry for a lot of people. Yes, there's a lot of research going in universities and whatever, but we've got to get this down into school level. STEM colleges and local college in Telford have really embraced that change, and they've got energy storage training in there, they've got renewable heat pumps, and they've really changed the focus on this new emerging market coming through. We need to look at upskilling, but also the kids coming through, and certainly women coming into this industry. Yeah, it's an exciting time, Mark.
I think it's interesting you mentioned that, because the media, I don't know if it's the media, it's maybe the teachers, to be honest, but repeatedly manufacturing's portrayed as these dark satanic mills, perhaps with energy. You say, if you're engaging with the local schools and talking to these kids who are trying to make career decisions, what they should do, and you're talking about energy, that's something they intrinsically understand. They all live the life of their phone going flat, and portable power banks. But perhaps it'll inspire them, because they don't perceive your industry as a dirty satanic mill. That's something that they can equate to. So perhaps that's one of the more positives, that you're inspiring the kids around you to think of manufacturing being what it really is these days, rather than some strange image that does seem to still perpetuate, maybe a bit classist, from education. So I think that's a fantastic sort of note to wrap it up on, really, that you've inspired me to think, perhaps you're also showing kids that manufacturing is clean as well as being exciting, and something they can relate to, because certainly my kids are incredibly passionate about whether they've got enough power available to keep their phone going.
And just to end on that, Mark, you think of the green agenda for the kids, seeing the planet what it is, and you saw Valencia with all the floods and everything else. We need to do this, and this is why we need to have those electric vehicles running around, buses, because these kids can see the planet, and if we don't act on it now, and create wind, tidal power, you need to store it, and that is where this is all getting exciting. And I always say, electric vehicle, electric bus, solar to wheel, fantastic.
Say solar to wheel, wind to wheel. I mean, we drive EV cars because there's tax incentives, but also the moral aspect of there's got to be better ways than burning fuel, consuming resource, when there is this free energy, solar and wind knocking around. So the most efficient way to get that in a car surely has to be put it in a battery, not to convert it to hydrogen and then reconvert it. So I think so. Hopefully there's more passion and more providers like yourselves, and it'll help push it across a little bit faster than this skeptical country seems to be adopting it at the minute. So it's been a pleasure talking to you, Mark. I will wrap up and sort of ask anybody to get in touch with the show with comments or suggestions, and if you'd like to appear ideally in a future episode. I think Mark has set a high bar to for people to come over. But please, if you've got passion about manufacturing, SMEs, please approach us about coming on. Email us at inquiries@mtdcnc.com. Contact myself, Stuart Whitehead, or Joe Reynolds. Most importantly, I'd like to thank you for watching and that you enjoy the rest of your weekend. From me, Mark Weymouth of Plus Automation. Cheers. Have fun. Thanks.